No.
What?
Okay. Anyway. Okay. And
What are we doing? What do we always do?
welcome back.
Holy Father, God in heaven, show your power, let it come for your kingdom and your honor, through your spirits and your son. Spread the Opps out, spread the Opps out, spread the Opps out.
Welcome back.
We're the Bergen, so this is Joshua and Cherrel Bergen. We're at episode 3 in our podcast.
Episode 3. Yeah.
It's been fun so far.
It's been so fun, and this time it's gonna be a little harder because we're gonna talk about some of the challenges, the hardship that we've had in our marriage, and also not just in our marriage but in our relationship.
Well,
Yeah.
from day 1 up until
now, yeah.
Until
And I
a
mean,
year later.
our hope is that this encourages anyone that whether has a disability or maybe you're considering being in a relationship with someone with a disability or you just want to be their friend, what that could look like, how you can make the hardships easier, or even just like we've learned how to laugh through it. Yeah. Okay, so probably the first hardship we had in our relationship was
Doing transfers.
transfers. What are transfers?
Okay, so in case you just weren't aware, I am in a wheelchair. I know it's a little hard to see, but one thing that I have to do is because I'm not driving myself, not yet, is that I actually have to transfer into a car using a sliding board. If you want to see what that's like, you can either check out our Instagram. You can see one of those videos, and it's not easy.
Yeah, and I guess it's because you don't have your core muscles can't be activated.
Right, and obviously my legs don't work. So, and they actually work against me with spasms and things like that. So,
How long did it take? Like, how long do you think it took our very first time doing a transfer?
a couple minutes?
No, not even a couple, because it was actually quite cold. We live in the coldest city in the world. Apparently, we got voted the coldest city in the world. But yeah, so we have some of the worst winters, and that was our first time learning how to do those car transfers.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of winter. It was snowing. We were
Minus
outdoors.
minus 30.
We were freezing cold, and I would say it probably took a good maybe almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an exaggeration. I think it probably took 10 minutes just to figure out how to get you to slide. And for me, I was concerned about how much I could help you and how much I needed to let you do it on your own. And I just didn't want you to fall because, oh my God, if you fell, that would
I know, if I fall in the snow, she's like 100 pounds.
And I'm 5'5", and you're 6 something.
Yeah.
So that would have been scary trying to figure out how to get you off the ground and into your chair again.
Yeah, and it was, a lot of it was my frustrations.
You were pretty frustrated.
Yeah.
And I think we had to have a talk. That was one of our first kind of serious talks. And I just said, we can't go at this already thinking this is going to be the norm. Like, we have to go at this hopeful that it'll get easier. And I said, let's try and do this and keep doing it until it gets easier. Yeah.
So number 1, find a nice lady who has a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Because it honestly helps so much because...
And I really liked you and I wanted it to work. So I wanted to do whatever I could to make it easier on you. But then me driving was hard on you.
It was hard because...
Some of our first arguments was me driving. I hate driving, just so everybody knows. I know I'm not the greatest driver. I'm a cautious driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drive like a grandma.
With me in the car, she's cautious.
No, I'm pretty cautious in general. I've never hit a car because my mom, she would threaten me and say, if you hit my car, you're paying for it. So I had just the fear of the Lord. I would drive like right up against the wheel. But I already knew, like, I didn't like driving, but I knew I had to. And I guess going into a relationship with you.
It was either that or taking Handy Transit, which is a service here we have here in Winnipeg. It's like a public service where you can actually just go onto like one of those big bus with a ramp on there, and
it's just not reliable.
Yeah, it can't be always reliable. You get dropped off a half hour or hour earlier from where you want to be, and so that's something that we really wanted to figure out. And it's just so much more convenient to be able to transfer into a vehicle.
Yeah.
But
and lucky for you, my mom made sure I bought the biggest vehicle I could possibly buy because
Yeah.
she was concerned about me driving on icy roads.
yeah,
So my car is perfect for your wheelchair and easy for you to get into. But it was just that first little bit, me driving, and you came out of relationships. This was your first relationship where you
Mhm.
weren't doing the gentleman thing
yes.
and meeting me and picking me up.
So
and
even like
driving me.
opening a car door for my lady, it's not something I was doing, which would just take more time.
Yeah.
But I was trying to maintain the little bit of control that I thought I could have, because I didn't have control in any. Well, I did have control in other areas of my life, and because Cherrel relied so much on GPS. Yeah, that was one of our first fights or arguments, I would say, is that arguing over how much control I felt was necessary and how much she felt like it was just like overbearing.
Yeah.
So that was.
But I didn't tell you anything. I just got quiet. I was like,
Right.
and the thing is, I understood, like, because I saw what your life looked like before, and especially you being this ladies' man. I thought, okay, this is a guy that enjoys being a gentleman, that wants to drive, wants to pick me up, wants to like do the chivalrous things, and you couldn't do that, and so I could see that was frustrating, and so
Yeah.
what little ways you could try and help me. You were trying to help, but it
Even just turn by turn directions.
yeah, but it just ended up being a little overwhelming. So that was a little bit of a hardship too. Yeah, but then the next hardship was UTIs.
Yes.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that you should know, or the main thing that you need to know about anybody who's a paraplegic, quadriplegic, who has had a spinal cord injury, going to the bathroom isn't normal.
Isn't easy, Isaac.
Isn't easy, yeah. So, I mean, you can Google it, but you have to use a catheter, and it's just because I can't void on my own. And so
void is like using your muscle to push it out.
Yeah, and having bladder control. I don't have bladder control to the extent where if I have to go to the bathroom, sometimes it's 15 seconds and then accidents start happening. But
like 15 seconds between when you feel like you have
Yes.
to go and when your body releases it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when UTIs start happening, bladder infections, then my body's response to getting the infection out, all the bacteria, is to that warning between when I get the warning and have to go is like you find a bathroom like now.
Yeah, it's like slim to none.
Yeah.
And UTIs, like, I mean, that's something that we realize is a quite common thing amongst quadriplegics and maybe even paraplegics, because you're putting a foreign object, which is a catheter, into your body and taking it back out. So that means you have a lot of germs.
Multiple times a day. And
Yeah, and so with that, and it's not affordable to have a new catheter every time you go to the bathroom.
Manitoba needs to pick it up.
But yeah, so with that, like, because Manitoba, they're the ones that finance your catheters, but they only allot you a certain amount, and they're actually really expensive.
Yeah,
so,
for like the quality ones too.
Yeah, so with that, you're putting a foreign object in your body, and so you have germs going in, and so UTIs was just something that you were dealing with almost every month, and it was affecting you. You wanting to go out.
Yeah, so we would be at, let's just say, a party. We had the Grey Cup party, and we're at church, and I'm rushed to the bathroom, and sometimes it's just inevitable that it happens because I just don't get to the bathroom quickly enough. So my initial thought was, we were still dating at the time.
Yeah.
And so my initial thought was, all right, night's over.
Yeah, and you came out of I could catch it when something happened, because you came out of the bathroom and you just had this like almost like an angry look on your face.
Because I'm so frustrated, right?
Yeah, and I was like, uh-oh, something's wrong, and people are walking up to you trying to talk and laugh, and you just weren't having it. And then I knew, okay, something's wrong. And then you said, okay, I need to go home.
Right.
Yeah, and that was
because I can't sit around with wet pants and a wet seat for the rest of the night.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, yeah, and you don't want anybody to also notice, like, Yeah.
Right, so I just keep the
What-
bag right
yeah.
there, and yeah.
What little pride you have. So
I know.
yeah, but that was
That's my
something.
dignity.
Yeah, that was something you had to let go of that.
Yeah.
Like you had to let go of that pride because I just said you have to be honest with me. Like if
Right.
you have an accident, we don't have to just go home and call it a night. And so that's when we made a decision that if you have an accident, we're gonna rush home, get it cleaned up. At that point, you had staff that you could call to get it cleaned up quickly.
Thankfully, yes.
Yeah, and then I was like, and let's go back to the party because like people wouldn't even know that we left. And
Some
we just
people were like, "Oh, where did you guys go?" And
yeah,
so sometimes, when you have a disability, you don't have to tell people the whole story.
yeah,
Just say, "I just had a bathroom issue," and people are pretty understanding.
yeah. I mean, like our friends are amazing. They don't want to know because they want to be like, oh, you had ew, that's gross. Like, no, they want to know because they're like, what can I do? Do you need help with
Yeah.
anything? And so that
Especially when we have nursing friends,
we
they're
have
a
a
big
lot of
help.
nursing friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was
nice.
like you said, my ego and my own pride. Yeah, we're dating, and I'm having to let this person in. We're building trust, and she needs to know what's going on in my world.
But then before that, why would you not even just tell a friend?
I don't know. It seems embarrassing. I was 30 at the time. It's like either you're 5 years old and you're wetting your pants, or you're 75 and you're wetting your pants.
Yeah, okay. I
So
get
like
that.
in the middle,
Yeah.
it's just like I'm 30 years old. This shouldn't be happening, and it just felt better to hide it
Yeah.
from people. It's like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah, and then like from that, we also had what's called disimpaction,
Disaffection.
which is another bathroom issue that
Yeah, which is
yeah,
bowel routine is another word for it.
yeah,
Again, my function to be able to go on number 2 is very limited. It's all based on gravity and timing, and that's something that I had my staff helping me out with every other day.
But the one thing we did notice is the difference between having someone that's paid to come in and do it versus having someone that actually loves and cares for you come in and do it. Because we were noticing things like even you have a commode, which that's for
It's a seat that goes over the toilet with a hole in it.
yeah, and the first time I helped you with that was when your staff were on strike. I looked at the commode and I realized it was completely covered in poo. And I was like, you're getting infections. Why wouldn't your staff like notice this?
Like the underside, yeah.
And then because like even just to do disimpaction, and you guys can Google it, it basically just means that someone has to go up in there and help everything come out. But yeah, but
Pokes it out a little bit. Yeah.
but with that, I was like, if your staff is having to go under this every day, and why wouldn't they stop and say, oh, this actually needs to be cleaned? And that ticked me off. I was like, why would they just not take the time to clean this?
Yeah, it's a difference between getting paid to do it and it's someone who
Who
love
truly
and
cares
trust.
about you, like cares about like how is this going to affect you? And at that point, you were having such bad infections that we didn't even know what to do about it, and the amount of pain that you were in. So how was it the first time I had to do disimpaction on you?
Surprisingly, it went well. But also, if you know about like eating habits and eating right, certain things help your bathroom schedule go better.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm married, it's so much better eating so much more vegetables.
Well, and then also one of the things that we also noticed is because I'm the one doing it every single day, I'm the one that knows when it's about to come, how to make it come, when you're actually done, which was one thing because you said your staff would come help you.
More so, it seemed like a guessing game.
Yeah, and then they would help you, and then they would leave, and then you would have an accident because not everything came out. Or even I remember one of the most like, there are just sometimes I get so pissed off when I hear about these things because those are the moments where I'm like, Jesus, why didn't you let me meet this man sooner? Because you said you actually had a staff that he was helping you and he started gagging and it looked like he was about to vomit.
In the cleanup process, yeah.
Yeah, and that for me, I'm like, what? You don't have kids? You know?
I don't think he did.
But you don't poop yourself? Like, for me, I'm like, why would you not? Like, why? I don't know. That just gets me. Like, the fact that, like, that he was gagging. Because, I mean, how, like, I mean, it's already something that takes such humility.
Right.
For someone to allow someone to come in and help them with.
Yeah.
That why would you make someone feel even, like, I just think if you naturally have a gag reflex, don't do a nursing job. Like, don't do a job that requires you to have to deal with bodily fluids.
Yeah.
Or learn how to do it in a manner where you're not gagging. I don't know that.
Anyways, so yeah, we started doing that. Like I said, my staff went on strike a month before we got married.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just seemed logical that if we were going to do this full time, then it had to start then, because I was moving in with this person a month before.
Well, I remember even when your staff went on strike, you had called me and you said, I haven't eaten yet, the staff were all gone, and you were like, and I actually have to poop and I don't know what to do. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna call some people, see if we could figure this out. And when we realized, okay, there was nobody that could help out, I was like, let's go, let's do it. Do it. Like, what else can we do? You can't have this in your body, you need to get this out.
Right.
So it made sense. But one of our first, like, kind of major unknown, like, I told someone, the hardest days for me with you is when we face unknown things that even you look at and say, I've never seen my body do this before. Like, that scares me.
So the first thing that we encountered was during this bowel routine disimpaction, like, there was blood.
You were just bleeding a lot and we didn't know what was happening.
Like, it's happened before. And it's not a pretty process, obviously.
But you said you've never seen that much blood coming out of you, and I just broke and started crying because I didn't even know what to do, and I was so scared. Yeah, so that was a pretty hard day. But then we ended up calling your doctor. Your doctor lets you call him whenever you need something, and we called your doctor, and he said, okay, this isn't a big deal. I'll just send something to apply and it'll stop it. And it actually stopped pretty quickly. But I think it was just the moment of you saying, I've never seen this before, and knowing that like because it is, in a way, it's trauma that we're doing to your body.
It is,
having to go in and pull everything out. And so just that fear of did we pull an organ out? I don't know, like something that shouldn't have come out. Has something come out that shouldn't have been pulled out? So that was pretty scary. Yeah. But so
speaking of the unknowns, of course, when you're on film, you have to be gone for 8-10 hours at a time.
No, not 8.
Or even longer than that.
Is not a thing. I've never been on set for 8 hours.
Anyways.
The minimum amount is 12 hours.
Yes.
The longest amount I've ever been on set is 21 hours. At that point, they're doing a second lunch and they're doing penalties because they're technically not allowed to do that. But yeah, when you're doing a film that has millions attached to it, nobody gives a rip about what your time and your schedule is. And most actors, it's not their full-time job. It can't be. So you're trying to figure out what to do with the rest of your life. Some people have kids and they're like, I'm still on set. Somebody has to take my kid to daycare. It's a pretty, I want to say it's a pretty selfish industry, because they really only think about, like, this movie and how much money it's gonna bring, and I just need the people to be there now, and I don't care what your schedule is, you just have to be there. And it's pretty unempathetic when you have emergencies.
So considering that I'm not able to, like, go 24 hours by myself. So, and then when you have a UTI on top of that, which was, I was going to the bathroom every 45 minutes, every hour. And so then Cherrel has to go to work. And I got to go to urgent care.
That was, well, I mean, the backstory was that was when we were married. That was probably our worst week of our marriage or of our relationship, because I had to be on set, and then you had swelling in your body and we weren't exactly sure what was going on. And your response to me for the second time in our relationship was, I don't know what's happening. And so I already was on high alert trying to figure out, like, are you dying? And so then I contacted the assistant directors and just told them what was happening. And I said, like, he's going to urgent care. I need to go with him. And they just said, like, it was funny. They kind of said it in a way where they were like, come to set and we'll work it out, which I kind of just felt like was a way of just trying to get me to be on set. And so when I got there, then it ended up just being this huge thing where I was like, you have to have had someone in the industry of film have an emergency and have to leave. Like, you can't tell me that this hasn't happened before. And people were just getting upset. Like, the assistant directors were just so upset. They were like, no, you have to be in these scenes, you can't leave. And I was at a point where I was like, if I'm here and he dies, I don't give a rip about your $1 million movie. You can keep your money. I just need to go find out if he's okay. And that pissed me off. Because we've had people on set die. Like, we've had stunt people die. We've just had people get into accidents. And when that happens and you have producers that are so focused on the fact that they're investing millions into this movie, so they don't care to stop and just take a second and allow people to mourn because they're like, no, we only have this many weeks to film this. So I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to just cut back unless they can be understanding and flexible and work with me, then I can't be in this industry anymore. And for me, I just felt like I chose you and I chose you with everything. Yeah. And my only regret is that I didn't meet you sooner because of all the things you've been through, that I just think if someone was there for you, like someone that could help you with these day-to-day tasks, that truly cared for you, not somebody that was being paid, then maybe some of these issues we've been dealing with would be less of a big health issue for you because it would have been taken care of properly. Right. Yeah. So that was my final draw where I was like, that's it. I'm taking a step back from the industry. And that's when people started calling me, and instead of just saying, hey, you booked this, can you work next week? They would say, how's things going? What's going on in your life? How can we make it that this is something flexible for you? Can Josh be okay on his own for this many hours? Or even we've had directors say, can Josh come to set with you and we'll just make sure he's comfortable? And and that kind of stuff I feel is where I'm like, great, like, yes, I can do that for you. I can work with you on that. But majority of films are just like, yeah, we don't give a rip. You have to shut your life down for us or else we're not hiring you. And that's just the worst. Yeah.
And then even, especially with urgent care, this is maybe like a month and a half ago that all of a sudden Cherrel wakes up. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30, and she feels like her throat is closing. It's like she's having an allergic reaction and she's freaking out. Yeah, I'm
and that was the week that you were already in urgent care and I had walked off that movie. Yeah. And I think also even just thinking, okay, because people get blacklisted so easily in the film industry that I thought, okay, that's it, I'm blacklisted. And yeah, so on top of that, to all of a sudden feel like I'm having this allergic reaction where I can't breathe.
Yeah, so we call 911. Yeah. They come check her out. They're in our bedroom. I'm still in bed, and they look in her throat, and like
they were just like, you need to go to the hospital. They were like, if you feel like you can't breathe, just like you need to get in the ambulance, and we're taking you to the hospital. And that was about a few weeks, maybe even a couple months of just not knowing. It was just the unknown of I thought I'm at least allergic to dust, probably. But then they just kept doing tests and more tests and giving me more pills and inhalers, and we weren't sure what was going on. And then they finally just said, okay, we actually just think it's stress.
Yeah, even the doctor came in and they did breathing tests, and he said, I don't know what's wrong with you. Yeah. No, he wasn't uncaring.
But no, they just said it was something in my throat. They said there's a muscle that's overactive. And it's clear that swelling you're feeling in your throat is just due to the stress of what you're going through. And so we realized another just big hardship for us was that we had to cut back on a lot of things that we enjoy doing. But we realized with the amount that our life looks like, our day-to-day life, our commitment to each other, first and foremost, then it means that work has to get cut back. The amount of church volunteering had to get cut back. Even our family, we had to make boundaries on when we can see them and when we just actually need to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a bit of an adventure just trying to figure out. So that one we're still managing. We're still figuring
Yeah,
out.
like with having, I mean, even without a disability, coming across things like this, it's just you have to make choices about what's best for the person's health, and sometimes you have to have hard conversations at 11 o'clock at night about like money should go to this thing, even though it's more expensive. It's got to go to this thing because your health is on the line.
Yeah, so it is a lot trying to navigate that. But I mean, I've heard somebody say before, and this has been the way my life has gone pretty much, is that when you step into something that's uncomfortable and you keep at it, just like the transfers, just like disimpaction, all the different things, it feels uncomfortable, but it really only feels uncomfortable for about 30 days is what I've heard is the time length of becoming comfortable with something that's new and different. And so for us, we found that as we stick at it, as we stick at all these different things that feel, because I mean, now doing transfers, we can do them in 30 seconds.
Yeah, they take no time at all.
Yeah.
And we're still amazed that it's like, remember, like we think back 7 months, 8 months ago, or even longer than that. It's like, this used to be the worst thing.
It used to feel awful, but we learned how to manage it. We moved into a building that has underground parking, so we're not doing it in the snow anymore. And but we realized that all of these things that felt uncomfortable, disimpaction felt like it would take forever. We would kind of like think about it the night before and be like, oh, okay, tomorrow morning we have to wake up early. But now it's not something that takes a long time. We figured out how to do it where it's fast. And it's not stressful. So a big thing for us was also just learning not to complain through it. That was a huge thing.
You say we, but it's mostly me. Is having these conversations about checking my attitude, because Cherrel is full-time helping me out. My attitude, even getting up in the morning, if my attitude is garbage, then it's not that her ability to do these things is less, but it's her want to be able to take care of me goes down. Like it's
well, it just makes it harder.
Yeah.
When you're griping, like anything, if someone doesn't have, like, gratitude is a huge thing in just being able to enjoy life. And so if there isn't that, and the thing is, it's not that you're ignoring the reality. The reality is, yes, this is hard, but you're choosing to find the things to be thankful for. So thankful that you do have a wife that's with you. Thankful that we're able to do these things faster now. Or even sometimes when we didn't know that we could do it faster, it was just thankful that we got to do it together. So you know what, you're selling yourself short, because quite quickly you recognized it. And you said, you know what, I need an attitude change. And I realize now, because you actually told me with your staff, you would complain and you would kind of be hard on them.
Yeah,
and then,
not proud of that. Not proud of that. And so that is something that I've had to keep in check, because I have such a gracious and loving wife and like girlfriend, fiance, leading up to it. I just saw not only just like you were resilient, but you cared so much for me that you were just gung-ho to like, just tell me what you need, I'll figure it out. And I've never once seen you complain about it. And that's something that I'm very thankful for. Because when I see things that affect you, things that I've said or things that I've done, and I see the impact that it has on you, like, yeah, it hurts you, like, either like emotionally, but like it hurts me, because I see what it does to you.
But even in that moment, like, I know this isn't who you are.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that what you're going through, especially like when you're in pain. Another thing we didn't talk about is that quadriplegics have pretty chronic pain from simply being in a wheelchair. We have people that say, like some of the kids that I teach at church, they'll say, oh, I wish I was in a wheelchair so I could just sit around all the time. But the truth of the matter is it's not that simple. Sitting in a wheelchair means you're not shifting your weight, you're not recognizing when your butt is going numb, something as simple as that. And
it's like sitting here right now, it feels like I'm sitting on like a wooden bench. And it's just something that I have to push through. But then some days you can't push through it, and those are days where you just have to be real with me and say, I need to lie down today. I need to stay in bed, and I have to know, when do I push you and say, hey, no, let's continue on with our day, or just get into bed with you and say, hey, let's watch a movie. So it's recognizing those differences. But the thing is, I think the reason why I choose to be positive through this is because I don't know what it's like for you. Like, yes, you've explained it to me, but I don't fully understand. So I don't know what it's like to be constantly sitting. I don't know what it's like to feel that you're always a couple steps behind someone trying to catch up because you're wheeling with them, or even just not being able to keep up with conversation because you're like half and then everybody's belly button level.
Your belly button level. So
and
like
it's loud and things like that.
So with all of that, and also the amount of pain you're in your butt, like it's all in your butt, and having to deal with pressure sores. That's another thing, another hardship that you have to watch out for. When you don't move your weight, you get pressure sores. So all of those things, I don't fully understand it. So I can't for a second be like, oh, come on, Josh, get over it. Or, oh, come on, you're just being a worry word today. But I watch you pray through it. I watch you worship through it. You know, I watch you push yourself daily to try and enjoy this life and to find God's purpose in it. So I recognize that, and that's why I know, okay, I'm going to choose to be positive in this. And even if it doesn't, like, I know sometimes you have bad days and you may not respond the way that's probably for the better.
My frustration overflows onto Cherrel, and we catch it quickly.
That's the thing, and that's the thing is that I don't come at you with a you're being a jerk. Like, no, I take a moment and I think through, what are you dealing with? And how can I best help you? Not, oh, you should have a better attitude because I'm here with you. No, I take a moment and I try to put myself in your shoes. And that, I think, is what helps me say, okay, I'm never going to truly understand it. So let me just help you through it. And it's in that moment that you can catch yourself and say, hey, actually, I'm not being nice to you right now. So, you know, and you're so quick to apologize, and we push through it quite quickly. So,
and then, like, that doesn't just go for having a disability. There's just differences that you're going to come across in a relationship or in a marriage that, like, you're just not gonna, like, us guys, we don't understand what periods are like. And when periods last long and there's cramps and stuff like that, it's like, you just gotta find compassion, gotta find empathy to even just be there, be present with that person, because sometimes that's enough.
Yeah, and I think
you don't have to fix everything, because you're not gonna be able to find a solution for everything.
Yeah, and I think I had to learn quite quickly, I'm not gonna fix everything.
No.
And sometimes it is just laying in bed with you and turning on a movie to help you get through the pain. Yeah, or just sitting with you on the toilet and just talking and laughing and looking at silly videos. So,
and then sooner than you know it, then all of a sudden the pain is gone. Like, moving on with your day is sometimes the best thing that you can do. There's sometimes where the pain is unmanageable, and you can't do anything about it other than rest. Rest is so needed. But, like, going to our friend's house, going to church, going to book club. We just started book club. Like, you find things to do so that you're not in your own head and you're home all the time. You get on each other's nerves, We get on each other's nerves, but it's fun.
It is fun. Yeah.
There are times where we do get annoyed at each other.
Yeah. But no, it doesn't last long.
No, it doesn't last long.
Well, we're out of time, but I hope that encourages anyone that is looking to see how they can be a better support system for anyone with a disability, or
Yes.
even if you yourself are going through a disability, understanding that rough days do come, that it
It's
doesn't
not forever.
always last. Yeah, it's not forever. That also the amount that you're doing, the transfers, all of it, disimpaction, all of that stuff, it's not always going to be a challenge. So yeah, things get easier as you keep going. So just keep going. Yeah. So the next episode we're going to do annoyances.
Yeah, annoyances with having a disability.
Yeah, annoyances. So we're going to talk about some of the stuff you face out there in the world out there, and things you wish people knew better about what it's like being a quadriplegic and trying to function in the world. So yeah, so it's going to be great. We will see you next time. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.